God's love, elevating, energizing, empowering. Miracles happen when you know that you are loved. Peter Youngren has communicated God's love with millions from every religion and culture. Get ready for your ultimate life because you are loved.
Megan Thurber and I are sitting down with William Sarfraz from Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi is a city of about 23 million people. More Muslims live in Karachi than in any other city in the world. And something very miraculous, something supernatural has happened. Against seemingly all odds, we have been granted the license to operate a 24/7 Christian television channel in this city of Karachi, and then all throughout that nation, and in fact throughout all of the 49 Middle Eastern countries. This is truly a breakthrough for the gospel in the Islamic world. And today we're going to take you behind the scenes. There's incredible odds. There's obstacles that we could never even imagine in a North American or European setting. And I'm going to be talking to William Sarfraz about these. And Megan, who has also been to Pakistan, she was there in one of our campaigns, and you'll hear about that. She will also be participating and commenting and helping to clarify what we're talking about. William, good to have you here with us in the studio.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Even to get you inside the country, you know, it's not easy for a Pakistani citizen to travel to the United States or to Canada. It's almost a miracle to get
exactly.
entry, but the authorities have been very kind to you.
Thank God.
So they must deem you trustworthy. Let's get right into it. Let's go back to 2008.
Yes.
I've had our ministry, we conducted 14 gospel festivals across Pakistan, and some of them go back to the 1980s.
Yes.
But in 2008,
Yes.
at a very pivotal time in Karachi, just weeks, maybe 2 weeks after the worldwide news story of the bombing of the Marriott Hotel
Yes,
by terrorist forces had occurred, we conducted a gospel festival, and you had been appointed by the local committee
Yes.
as the chairperson.
Yes.
And I think you knew about our ministry before
Yes.
that, but now we were connected. How did that, what happened in 2008 in that gospel campaign, and how did it affect you?
Basically, of course, that has been a life-changing, event for me. Basically, I learn a lot. I learn how to present the gospel. Earlier we using traditional things, we are condemning Muslims. We approach of reaching to Muslims were totally different. But when we wrote that Karachi Friendship Festival, and we, the development director, I think Paul Cowell was there, and he described how the Peter Youngren and the ministry operates. That has been a totally discrimination when we said that, it is without discrimination, and we are welcoming all people. And while we are welcoming all people, I just want to share the situation. And we put billboards, all over the city, big billboards and prime locations of the city. And when we put billboards, some of the church leaders, they called us, he called me, and they said, you are inviting terrorists to come and throw suicide bomb in the festival. That is the stupid thing you are doing. You had to be wise, just, distribute, pamphlets in the churches, give transportation, and people.
So this was a new concept to reach out to invite the whole city, which is about 98% Muslims. If you invite the whole city, it's going to be a lot of Muslims coming. So Christians were afraid, and you can understand why.
Yeah, of course, because the situation was very bad. The suicide bombers and terrorist attacks. What at its peak, nowadays it is quite secure as compared to 2007, 2008, and 2010. We had a horrible situation, but thank God, we did that festival. Not only we advertised in the billboards. We were on the national news, and also we were on the biggest televisions.
So this friendship approach that we call it, where we come in to present the gospel, much like the Apostle Paul did in Athens, he presented the gospel without condemning the Athenians, without berating them for their religion. He merely acknowledged their religion and preached Christ. This is what we do. And this was new because Christians were so used to just start out with condemnation from the word go. Another thing I want to mention to you that strikes me somewhat funny when I look back on this, and Megan, I'd like to hear your comment, but because of the bombing at the Marriott Hotel, a warning went out from the U.S. State Department, from Canadian Foreign Affairs, and all of the Western countries, and also from the Pakistan authorities, that all foreigners please leave the country.
Yes.
So every embassy warned their citizens leave the country, and the Pakistani authorities says, if you're a foreigner here, please leave or go underground.
Yeah.
Well, the same day that this announcement hit the newspaper, it was the front page on the newspaper, and right beside that, because we had our advertisement on the front page, was my picture and saying, come to the festival. And of course, people look at my face, I don't look very Pakistani, I kind of look like a foreigner. And it struck me kind of funny that, flee, go underground, and there we were, but somehow we weren't really that concerned. We felt God was with us. You were there, Megen.
I was sharing with William, that's probably one of my most memorable festivals, being in Karachi and being a part of that festival. And one thing that just really struck me is the hunger of the people. And just had the opportunity to see all the people come in, and the lineups to get into the festival was just incredible. And every single person had to clear a metal detector. And so you can see everybody streaming in. And it was amazing that they stood in the lines that long, and everybody was cleared, and they had to come through it, and it was fine.
And I remember as the crowd was growing, William was saying we need to rent more of these metal detectors. I think we ran out of metal detectors. We had to get them from all over.
The police was putting so much pressure because they said, it is you have gathered so much of people, and you have very few metal detectors. So they're calling me. They said you need to have more metal detectors, and people had to wait for 1 hour. To be in the ground.
Yeah.
And, because of the long queues.
That festival, God did awesome things.
Yes.
One of the things, without telling all the miracles and the healings and the thousands of Muslims who confessed Jesus Christ, was that I was invited as a guest on a large television network, which is kind of unheard of in an Islamic country.
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Basically, when we present in the newspapers, when we give advertisement on the television, and people heard, the media heard about the miracles happen, and, whole city is shaken and moving to the festival ground, the media want to hear, what kind of approach, this man has bring from, foreign land, and, they want to listen. And, they ask us, couple of newspapers, couple of television channels, but because, you had not much time, we were in the seminar as well, the pastor's seminar, gospel revelation seminar. So we were busy at there, but we had a time on Saturday. So we gave them, they want to hear, and they honor that, interview. And, they said a lot of people, they had a lot of questions, more questions, but, then when the time was hit,
And then that led to, in a subsequent campaign, what happened, we had that breakthrough on the television there. And what happened was then, another one of the big networks made us an offer.
Yeah, that's a summer television. Summer television is the biggest television today in Pakistan, the biggest news television in Pakistan. And we given them advertisement, for the festival, and they keep coming. But at the last day, when they see the miracles and, crowds response, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, every religion people were there in the festival. So they want to show, what is happening there. So they ask us, to give the permission, to on air the whole festival service message and healing, part, live throughout the nation. And of course,
and again, this was a breakthrough for the gospel that people were shocked that in an Islamic country they would give us a free live satellite feed from and I was preaching Jesus Christ risen from the dead, which is kind of I guess from a Muslim perspective, I was preaching as much of heresy as you could imagine, declaring Jesus Christ is risen from the dead. That was my whole theme, and they broadcast that for free. I mean, now let's fast forward here. After that, we went back, we had more festivals, enormous things happened. In your heart, William, something happened.
Yeah.
And you raised the subject with me. You said, I think we can get our own television channel.
Yes.
Now, I want to say I wasn't very receptive to it because you know, to receive a television license in an Islamic country. Pakistan is not a secular state where all religions are equal. It's an Islamic country. And it just seemed too out there. It seemed too impossible.
Yes.
And yet, what you had seen, God opening the door and the satellite transmission and all that, you started to dream bigger.
Yes. I learned a lot from this festival. Of course, you know, the way we present the gospel in Islamic context, you know, that totally changed. Then we use media, you know, to attract people to hear the gospel, you know. And then, of course, when I realized, you know, how people are coming from all over, you know, Pakistan, you know, from Karachi, you know, that's because of the media. We involved media. We never involved media and such a kind of advertisement before. But I remembered one testimony that breaks my heart. You know, a lady came from Abbottabad, which is about 2,400 kilometers away
It's
from
about
Karachi.
1,700 miles.
Yeah, very far. You know, like one corner of Pakistan from another corner of Pakistan. But she's seen an advertisement.
By the way, Abbottabad was the place where Osama bin Laden was caught.
Exactly.
It might be a little
Now it's became.
So it's a famous city now, but it wasn't then. Yes,
Then,
yeah.
So, you know, the lady, she was, you know, she lived there, and her daughter were blind with both eyes. She was blind. And, you know, her mother seen that advertisement.
So media did it.
Yeah, media did it.
Television got to her.
Yeah, and, you know, once, you know, she's seen that, I'm so, you know, blessed whenever I see what power motivates her. Even she's not from that religion, even she never seen that things happening in the mosque, but, you know, she believed and she took a step, you know. And the people of Abbottabad still very poor, you know, Pastor Peter, they are very poor, you know, of having a money to get a train is a challenge for them. And thank God she able to reach the festival on the last night.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is a moment for her.
Yeah.
That's a really moment for her. You know, when she came, you were praying and you shared the message, Jesus is alive. And then, you know, and instantly God healed her. And when she came running and, you know, I remember there was no space at the festival ground. You know, she need to, you know, touch, you know, like the woman who had issue, she need to move from, you know, she need breakthrough to reach there. And, you know, there was a people outside the ground.
Yeah.
You know, you remember?
Yeah.
You know, there was.
She had travels 2,400 kilometers, 1,700 miles. She wasn't going to be stopped when she was in the entrance to that ground.
Exactly. So she entered. And, you know, when her daughter was, you know, she said that I can see now. She got mad. You know, she ran to the platform and you know, she said, testifying, I was so thrilled. I said, I will never able to go to Abbottabad. It's such a radical city, you know. All of the northern area is totally occupied by the Taliban. You know, most of they heads in the mountain caves. So I said, I'd never been able to go, but you know, the media did that, and you know, through the power of media, we will able to, you know, to impact the family, and you know, we reach this, you know, precious people with the love of God. You know, that's, you know, this point brings me that, you know, I was so
And I'm sure
shocked.
when you were telling that story, probably our producer was showing on the screen that very woman and her daughter. I think the daughter was around 18 or 20.
Yeah, very young.
And then she even wanted to pay for the
Yes,
healing. You know,
yes,
from a Muslim background, they
Exactly.
have never heard that healing from God would be free.
I remember that.
And you remember how we said, no, this is free, and then she was so grateful. But it opened your eyes to the power of media.
Exactly.
She would never have got that train ticket.
Not at all.
And it probably took her 2 days by train to travel.
Yes, 2 days.
So there was a huge
Sure.
effort.
Yeah.
Media did that.
Yes.
And so now you're thinking, can we do this all the time?
No, you know, that desperation came into my mind, how we can do that. So after the festival, I meet so many people. Everybody says it's not possible, it's impossible. But I felt, you know, I felt it is important. If we want to reach all over Pakistan with the love of God, with the message of Christ, we need to have the media. It's such a powerful. And of course, you know, there are a lot of things people discourage, you know, people said, you know, you are gone mad, you know, this. But, you know, somehow I was able to meet a government minister. At that time, there was a only federal minister in our nation, and he is a very good man. You know, he had a heart for Pakistan, and he's the voice for Christians in Pakistan.
I want to get to that in a moment. I'm going to follow up there. So I think you know where this story is going to go, but there's an enormous amount of information, things that you can hardly talk about on television. People being killed, burned alive for the sake of the gospel that we've experienced. But we want to go to a quick break. I want you to watch this, and then we're going to pick up, because this man who William just introduced us to, Shabbat Bhakti, plays a very important role. He was the top-ranking Christian in the government of Pakistan. We'll tell you the role he played and what happened to him. But first, watch this.
Does God love 1.7 billion Muslims? Is the gospel also for them? Are Christians in the West willing to reach Muslims for Christ? Peter Youngren grappled with these questions when the opportunity to lead a 24/7 gospel television channel in the world's largest Muslim city was presented to him. The answer is a resounding yes. Christian believers from many backgrounds are saying, yes, let's do it. Let's make history for the gospel. The channel called Gawahi was presented with two options: immediate growth or possible failure. In 2 months, the channel has grown 600%, from 4 million viewers to more than 25 million. Yes, millions are hungry for the gospel of Jesus Christ. With more than 50 gospel festivals in regions where Muslims are in majority, often in cities where more than 90% or even 99% are Muslims, World Impact Ministries and Peter Youngren know firsthand the enormous desire for Jesus Christ, as tens of thousands have said yes to repent and believe the gospel. Still, television reaches infinitely further. World Impact Ministries local representative William Sarfraz says 180 million people in Pakistan have had no access to Christian television until now. This is big. It is God's favor. We must not fail. Viewers who want to know more about Jesus Christ are offered the book Hope for You from Jesus Christ for free. Your help is needed. Pray for Christians in the Islamic world that often live under fear and threats. Give your best gift, whether $1,000, $50, $100, or $10,000. You're needed at this crucial time. This is an ongoing 24/7 ministry. Satellite and cable company bills must be paid every month. New believers must be followed up daily. Please become a monthly partner today. Jesus said that whatever you have done to one of these least, you have done unto me. Give what the Lord lays on your heart, and most importantly, become a monthly partner. Call now 1-877-974-7223 or give online at peteryoungren.org.
You're going to hear so much more, but I trust that what you saw there on that clip and what you've heard so far makes you say, I want to be a part of this. This is worthy of my love and my faith and my investment. Whether you become a partner that shares $30 a month or $25 a month or $300 a month, I trust that God is touching your heart. We're not doing this on top of what another 5, 10, 15 organizations are doing. This is it, in the world's largest Muslim city. And as William says, you know, where he wouldn't dare to go because it's areas infested with terrorists, our television signal is going there and Muslims are coming to Christ. And so let's pick up where we were in our conversation, William.
Yes.
Shabbat Bhakti. Tell us who he was and the role he played.
Basically, he was the only federal minister for minorities and human rights in Pakistan, you know, and at that time there was a government of Pakistan People's Party, and he had a very good relation with the Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto, who later has been assassinated by the extremists. But you know, he's the very gentle and nice man, and he had a heart to see Pakistan.
I remember he
community.
helped us with our campaigns.
And you know, when I go there to meet in Islamabad, you know, I meet him, you know, for a few days, and he's touched, you know, by the importance of the media for the development of the community, and of course sharing the love of Christ, you know. And he's touched, and he said, I love to help you. And I lived, you know, then I go back, but I had to live for 1 year in Islamabad, you know, to follow up the process.
While you're working on getting this television license.
Yes, I had to, you know, because in our culture, either you pay them, money, bribe something, or you can just keep knocking the door. Just go and sit down in their office and said, please do something, we need your help. So he gave us a letter to the PEMRA, which is the Pakistan Media Regulatory Authority, who is the authority who issues license and control the media affairs, from the government of Pakistan. He gave us the letter, and the chairman of the PEMRA is the very good friend of Shahbaz Bhatti. So he told me that, you go with him. I also gave him a call. And of course, you need to fulfill the requirement, and then you will get the license.
So he was a person who supported the cause of the gospel.
Yeah.
I know he made phone calls behind the
Yes.
scenes for
Yeah.
some of our campaigns
Yes.
to mayors of cities.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Shahbaz Bhatti has been assassinated by the Taliban. He was going to his office one morning, and they followed him, and they put gun upon him, and 22 bullets was hit in his body, and he's died on the spot in his car.
What a tragic thing. He really became a martyr for the gospel.
Exactly.
And what I read in the newspaper was that the killers,
Yes.
and I don't know if we have the picture on the screen that shows his car riddled with bullets, distributed leaflets
Yes.
and explained
Yeah.
to anybody who was an onlooker to this murder why they had murdered him before
Yes.
they took off.
Yes. They distributed.
And it was because his stand for Christ that they had
Yes.
murdered him.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever been held accountable or gone to prison for
Not
that?
yet. Not yet. Not yet. Nobody. Not nobody.
However,
Yes.
we received the license.
Yes.
How soon did that happen after this tragic assassination?
It will take, after his assassination, it will take 2 years for us, because everybody knows that he's not anymore. So the PEMRA chairman, he demand, a lot of money. And we use other member of national parliamentarians, and, we try to, talk to them, how it, we use maximum, resources we can. So it took 2 years after his assassination that we obtained the license from the government.
And then you contacted me.
Yes, then, because, license is the one thing, but, in Pakistan, we cannot do anything if we not paid money to the cable operators. The cable operators, the religion is money. So, they said, we...
It's the same in America.
Yeah.
That's nothing unique to Pakistan. Same in
They
Canada.
said we cannot play even for a single second until you not pay the money. So, we were in such a trouble. So, of course, when I see, and, of course, we, know your heart for Pakistan, and of course, to the Muslim world, and God has, blessed you with a unique message for the Muslim. And, personally, I want to see, our nation, for the Christ. We want to, reach up all over Pakistan with the love of God. So how we will do that? So we need you, to stand
So now
with us.
I'm going to tell my story here because I didn't want to hear this.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I had heard God was working on him, and God had used this previous breakthrough that we had for the gospel. And Megen will know, she was the chief operational officer of the whole operation at the time. I didn't want to talk to her about it because I realized to operate a television channel cost a lot of money. I've experienced in this. And so I said, let somebody else do it. And yet, nevertheless, here we had the license. William sent me the license. I think it's on the screen there right now. And so I said, okay, we have it. He told me 30 Muslim organizations were given a license to propagate that message, one Christian organization, and we have it, Peter, he said. And I still wasn't very willing. Then I got a call. Someone said, William is on his way to America. Tina and I were in California at the time, and he says he knows where you are. He's flying to meet you. I'm thinking, why is he coming to see me, even though you're a dear friend? I said, he must have many relatives, and he's just visiting me for an afternoon. He arrives and I says, what are you doing? He says, I'm here to talk to you about the television station. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't all excited because I realized this is going to cost a lot of money. And our ministry, we already running, in so many directions, doing so much good for the gospel. Great campaigns, festivals, pastor seminars, television. And I actually said to the Lord, Lord, I can recommend several other ministries that I think have a lot more money that could handle this. But you know, God, when God gives you an opportunity, He kind of knows what He's doing. And so this went on for about 36 hours. You remember you were there, and I wasn't committing to anything. And when you were out of my way, I was grumbling to Tina and said, you know, I don't know. These days, Muslims are beheading people. Terrorists are beheading people. I said, Christians don't even want to give money.
Exactly.
How am I going to get Christians to become partners with a television channel in the world's largest Muslim city? And then one day, it was 36 hours after you had arrived, I was just getting ready for the day, and I said, Lord, why are you giving this to me? Sometimes the Lord doesn't answer me anything back, but at that moment, it was an instant response. And I heard a voice on the inside say, I'm giving it to you because you will say yes. Now, I kind of smiled. You know, sometimes God has a sense of humor. And I thought, I don't know whether that God means that I'm so holy and dedicated that I will say yes, or if he's saying, you know, you're stupid enough to say yes to the most impossible task. And I had to chuckle because I thought, you know, if there's one thing I have a weakness for, I have a weakness when it comes to people who have never heard the gospel. I sometimes do things too daring. I step out in faith and we have no money, we have no resources, but when I hear the need and I see the opportunity, I say yes. So when God spoke that in my heart, I'm giving it to you because you'll say yes. And I said yes. I said yes, I surrender myself to this. And we began to talk about it. And I began to share about it. And I was almost apologetic. But I said, we have an opportunity for the gospel. And it's an awesome opportunity. And some of you began to respond. And at that time, you already had a few very tiny cable networks, very, very small, you know, a few thousand subscribers here, a few thousand subscribers there. And I said, well, by faith, let's take the biggest cable network in the whole country. Let's go after the biggest one. We get that one first. And we got it.
It's a media vision.
And when I say we, I don't mean you and I and Megan and us. I mean you partners. You helped us to get this.
Thank you. Your partnership makes this ministry possible. To share your prayer request or to help bring the good news of Jesus Christ to thousands who have never heard, call 1-877-974-7223. You can give at www.peteryoungren.org or send your gift to World Impact Ministries at P.O. Box 2108, Vista, California 92085 2108 or 190 Railside Road, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, M3A 1A3. Together, let's give everyone a chance to hear the gospel.